Silence has a sound, and Ethan Miller learned that the hard way the morning his parents didn't come home. Not the calm kind of silence, but the heavy kind that presses on your chest and makes the air feel wrong. The sheriff's truck rolled into the driveway just after sunrise. The engine stayed on. 2 doors opened. One man took off his hat. The other couldn't look Ethan in the eye. In that moment, before a single word was spoken, Ethan understood that his life had already changed forever. If you think you know how this ends, don't go anywhere, because what happened next is the reason stories like this exist on Emotional Twist. Before we continue, take 1 second. If real, emotional stories keep you watching, hit like and subscribe to Emotional Twist right now. It helps the channel grow, and it tells YouTube to show you more stories that stay with you long after the video ends. Now listen carefully. By noon, the house felt too big, too empty. Every sound echoed like it didn't belong anymore. 3 weeks later, the house wasn't even theirs. Uncle Ray stood in the living room with his arms crossed, boots still dusty from work, jaw tight like a locked door. He didn't shout. He didn't insult them. That somehow made it worse. He said he couldn't afford to keep them. Food wasn't free. Heat wasn't free. And he didn't sign up to raise 3 kids that weren't his. Noah stiffened beside Ethan. Lily gripped his sleeve. Noah whispered that it was their house. Ray laughed and said it used to be their parents' house. Paperwork was done. Ethan tried to bargain. He said he could work, cut wood, hunt, do anything. Ray shook his head. Ethan was 16, not a man. Winter was coming. Kids would just slow him down. Lily started crying quietly. Ray dropped 3 backpacks on the floor and told them they had an hour. No goodbye. No apology, just a door slamming shut. By noon, they were walking down a frozen dirt road with everything they owned. Ethan carried the heaviest bag with clothes, a dented pot, and his dad's old fishing knife. Noah carried blankets. Lily had a pink backpack with a broken zipper and a stuffed rabbit poking out. The sky turned gray. Snow clouds rolled in. Lily asked where they were going. Ethan said somewhere safe. He didn't know if that was true, but he couldn't say he didn't know. They cut through the woods. Trees didn't stare at them like people did. By nightfall, the wind turned sharp and cruel. They hid behind a fallen log and shared cold beans. Noah shivered. Lily's lips went pale. Ethan wrapped them in the blanket and stayed awake all night. Every sound felt like danger. The next morning, snow erased their footprints. They climbed toward the Greystone Cliffs. Ethan remembered fishing here once with his dad. He remembered a dark opening in the rock. A cave. They found it before noon. Cold air breathed out of it. But inside, the wind couldn't reach them. There was a frozen pond, smooth as glass, glowing faint blue. Lily whispered that it felt like a secret place. They made camp. Fire pit. A tent tucked into stone. When the fire caught, shadows danced on the walls. That night, they ate the last of the bread. On the second day, hunters found them. They laughed and said the kids would be dead by Christmas. Ethan told himself they didn't matter, but the words felt thin. By the third day, food was gone. Ethan stood over the frozen pond. Dark shapes moved beneath the ice. Fish, his dad had shown him once. Ethan smashed the ice with a rock until his arms burned. He made a hook from a paper clip, a line from a bootlace. When the fish burst through the ice, Lily screamed with joy. Noah laughed for the first time in days. They ate warm food. It wasn't much, but it was hope. That night, Ethan lay awake thinking about Uncle Ray and the door slamming shut. He remembered his dad's voice saying a man doesn't quit when things get hard. When Lily rolled over and grabbed his sleeve, Ethan decided winter would not win. That decision changed everything. Days blurred together. Fire, fish, wood. Storms screamed outside while the cave held. They built walls. A small cabin inside the cave. It wasn't comfort. It was survival. The hunters returned, laughed again, then stopped coming. Maybe they thought the kids were already dead. Lily got sick, coughing, fever. Ethan stayed awake all night holding her, terrified. The next morning, they caught a fish when they needed it most. Color returned to her cheeks. Winter kept attacking. Storms blocked the entrance. Rocks fell. Fear pressed in. Each time they adapted. Each time they stayed. Weeks passed. Then months. Ethan's hands cracked and scarred. Noah grew steadier. Lily learned to start the fire herself. They stopped talking about Uncle Ray. They talked about tomorrow. By midwinter, the cave felt alive. Drying fish hung on strings. Firewood stacked high. A crooked shelf built from scraps. One day, Ethan found a rusted metal box in the snow. Nails. A broken saw. Treasure. They built stronger. Smarter. And one quiet morning, Ethan realized he wasn't waiting to be saved anymore. He was building a life. Spring arrived quietly. Snow softened. Water dripped from stone. The pond cracked open. One afternoon, voices echoed outside. Search volunteers. Someone had finally come looking. When they saw the cave and what the kids had survived, no one laughed. Wrapped in blankets, warm for the first time in months, Lily asked if they were going home. Ethan looked at his brother and sister and understood something deeply. Home wasn't a house. It was the people who stayed. If the story moved you, comment below and tell me what part hit you the hardest. I read every comment. And if you know someone who needs the story, share it with them. Stories like this are why Emotional Twist exists, because sometimes the coldest winters reveal the strongest hearts.